I was recently sent Geek Girl and Geek Girl Model Misfit, which is the follow-up to read. And they are aimed at a more teenage market, but I literally couldn't put them down once I started reading them. I finished both books in 2 days. It was just a non-stop page turner for me. I really enjoyed them. The story is based around Harriet, who's a 15-year-old girl who is a self-confessed geek and is throwing little facts and figures in throughout the whole of the story. I actually learned something from her. And yeah, one day she gets dragged along to the clothes show live by her best friend, who is really obsessed with fashion and wants to become a model. And Harriet actually gets spotted by one of the world's most leading modelling agencies, and then she goes on around the world doing different modelling jobs, and it's really truly representative of what it's like backstage, you know, with people saying, no, you haven't got time for lip gloss, and people dressing other people. And it is a really good book. And Holly Smale, who's the author, she actually was a model herself before she turned her hand to writing, so I think that's how she knows so much. I've been asked to do a makeup tutorial based on the latest book, Geek Girl Model Misfit. The makeup that Harriet wears is quite full on because it's for her modelling jobs. So instead I'm going to show you a makeup look that you could do if you're not really into makeup. Perhaps you're a bit of a self-confessed geek and you don't really know where to start. I'm going to be using products that you can find on the high street, Superdrug, Boots, any kind of drugstore like that. And of course you don't have to use the exact same products. I'm just showing you what's out there and giving you an example of what you could do. I'm borrowing my 15-year-old sister Lottie, seeing as Harriet is also 15. So I hope you enjoy it. Please let me know if you have any questions. Don't forget to like it if you do, and subscribe for more videos. To start with, I'm going to be using Rimmel Wake Me Up foundation on Lottie's face. It's got a nice coverage that will cover up some of her blemishes, and it leaves your skin not looking flat. It's got some radiance to it, and you don't really want to be looking flat and dead. You do want to be looking alive. You can apply your foundation using your fingers or a brush. I personally prefer to use a brush. This is the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. If you do use a brush, make sure that you don't have any visible brush strokes left on your face, and if you do, just blend them in with your fingers afterwards. You can see that the foundation is already covering up some of the redness that Lottie had on her face and her blemishes. This is why it's a good idea to do your concealer after your foundation, because otherwise you'll probably be using concealer where you don't really need to use it. This way you can see where needs something extra. You might not even need to use concealer. I personally like to go over the eyelids with any foundation that I have left on the brush to create a nice uniform finish and a bit of a base for any eyeshadow that you're going to use. For concealer, I'm using Rimmel Hide the Blemish concealer. This is Lottie's own concealer, as I didn't have any drugstore concealers with me. I'm applying it using a brush, and then I'm going in with a foundation brush to blend it in and make sure that it ends up being the same colour as the rest of the face. This concealer is a little bit too light. Collection do a really good liquid concealer which is long lasting. If you do have some blemishes that you want covered up for the whole day, then I would recommend trying that one out. For the eyes, I'm using new creamed powder eyeshadow from Bourjois. First of all, I'm using number 3, which is called Petale de Glace, and it's this light oystery pink colour, really pretty. If you have any creases on your eyelids, make sure you get rid of them before you apply the product. You can use a brush or your finger to apply. It's really easy, one of the most easy forms of eyeshadow to apply. Just make sure you're getting it all the way from the inner corner to the outside corner, and I'm just adding it up to the eye socket. This colour looks really pretty on its own. You could just stop there, just add some mascara, and it's a really just adds something to your face without being too much. I really like it. If you wanted to be a little bit more daring, or you were going on a night out, I'm going to show you how you can vamp it up a little bit. I'm adding in here number 5, which is called Prune Nocturne, and I'm just adding it to the outer corner of the eye. I'm using a brush, but again you could use your finger, but I'd go for a small finger because otherwise it is going to go everywhere. And then I'm adding it in along the socket line, and just using my finger to blend the two colours together. It's like a little triangle on the outer third of the eye. You just want to make sure that the colour, there's no bits of colour that are more coloured in than the others. And then I'm just doing the same on the other eye. It does look a little bit messy at this point, but don't worry, just rub it in with your finger. I'm taking it up to the socket line and slightly along at the top. If you do want to try this, then you will need to do that with a brush rather than your finger. And the edges will be looking fairly harsh now, so you want to get a fluffy brush and just rub along those lightly, like windscreen wiper motion, just to blend those down and take away the harsh edges. For mascara, I'm using Rimmel Scandaleyes Show Off Mascara, which is a nice volume boosting black mascara. Lottie has already got quite curly eyelashes, but if yours stick out straight up front, then you might want to try an eyelash curler. It's really not as scary as it looks once you get the hang of it. If you happen to get any mascara above, just rub it off with your finger or a cotton bud. While it's still wet, it will come off quite easily. If it's dried, then put a tiny bit of moisturiser onto a cotton bud and that will get rid of it. I'm adding a tiny bit of mascara to Lottie's lower lashes. I think that look is really pretty. For the blush, I'm using Berry M 208. You want to apply it not anywhere between the middle of your eye and your nose. Blusher wants to start from the centre of your eye and go up towards the ear, in line with the ear. The colour does look quite scary, like a hot pink colour in the pan, but once it's on the face, it's really nice, pretty, soft pink. With the lips, it depends how daring you want to go. You could just apply something like a tinted lip balm, like this Maybelline Baby Lips. Or if you wanted to add a little bit of colour, this is the Nude by Cheryl lipstick for L'Oreal. It's actually the colour that I'm wearing if you have a look at the beginning of the video. I really like it for a barely there, pretty colour. So many people have these lip crayons out at the moment. This is the Bourjois Colour Boost. You could apply it all over your lips if you wanted to go really quite daring, or you could just apply some to your finger and then dab it onto your lip for a hint of colour. This is Plum Russian. If you do get quite shiny, you could add a powder to set the look. Rimmel Stay Matte is a good one. And here I am just sneakily filming Lottie being a bit more natural so that you can see the makeup. That is the finished look. Ah, my pretty little sister. Hope you like it. I don't know what I was going to say. Recently sent Geek Girl and Geek Girl Model Misfit, which is Oh,
what? Disgusting.
Once you're done with foundation, you may want to your base for your eyeshadow.